And today I've got with me Barry Trainor. He's a hypnotist and he's also an unlicensed boxer. So pleased to meet you, Barry.
Pleased to meet you, Jay. Nice to be here.
It's really exciting to have you here in person. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your journey or something like that?
Yeah, of course. Well, where do I start really? My name is Barry Trainor. However, some people may know me as Ricky Moore.
Yeah.
Ricky Moore. Yeah, that's my stage name. And so if you've been to see a Hypnotist show,
Yeah, cool.
you may have seen me do a show which is Ricky Moore. And my journey is I became interested in hypnosis when I was about 19 years old. I was a boxer, and I was a very successful amateur boxer.
Yeah.
I won pretty much everything you can win as an amateur boxer. I was a regular with the England squad, and I suffered from nerves. And somebody taught me how to use self-hypnosis to change my mindset. And after a couple of sessions of learning how to use self-hypnosis, I never looked back. And that's why I then fell into being a stage hypnotist, because I understood very early on the power you can use your mind to change not only events, but to change how you feel. And then if you change how you feel, that can then change events.
Awesome. So when did you learn about self-hypnosis? I mean, how did that come up?
I learned about self-hypnosis quite late in my boxing career, because I actually stopped boxing around about the age of 21. Yeah. But I learned about it about 19 years old. So I'd spent a lot of my boxing career suffering from this nervous energy, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But when you don't know how to channel it, it can be an uncomfortable thing. And when I learned how to use it, what I used to do was I used to use self-hypnosis and visualization within that self-hypnosis to visualize competition, visualize fights. And the first time I used it, after about 3 months of preparing for a competition, I remember walking to the boxing ring, and what I'd done was I'd been visualising myself having this fight with this certain person, and I was going through it in my mind. I was seeing what I would see, I was hearing all the things that I'd hear with a fight, feeling. So I was using all of the messages you use within hypnosis NLP, and when it actually came to walking to the ring, I remember feeling different. Yeah, I remember walking, and the nerves that I usually have weren't nervous energy, it was like excitement. And I remember getting in the ring, and now there's something that's really, really important about this. When I was fighting, it was as though I knew what my opponent was going to do before he done it, even though I didn't. Yeah. And after I spoke to my mentor, Hugh Lennon, who taught me how to use self-hypnosis, he said to me the reason why that was because my mind has accepted the fact that I'd already won this fight. So when I was in there, it wasn't that I knew what he was going to do. I was just so relaxed that my subconscious mind had took me to another level. And then I become hooked on using mindset for sport. And that's what drove me to then fall into, I became so excited about hypnosis, I ended up putting down the boxing and going into hypnosis.
Awesome. That really resonates with me. Just on the bookshelf there, I've got a little book by Charles Tebbets. It's a tiny little book. It's one of my favourite books. It's called Self-Hypnosis and Other Mind-Expanding Techniques. And brilliant. One of Charles Tebbets' rules of the mind, rule of the mind number 2, was what is expected tends to be realised.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. So
I just love that. I repeat it all the time. People get bored of me talking about it, but it's one of the most important things in positive auto-suggestion. If you're an anxious person, you're expecting chaos. If you're expecting something else, which is comfortable and, exciting, which you've done with your books, then that's what you tend to get. So that's awesome that you've been doing the self-hypnosis. Did that actually come before the stage hypnotism? Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. I became hooked on hypnosis. I used hypnosis for about a year. I got about a year and a half in boxing. In that time, I'd already had several offers of professional contracts, and I got offered professional contracts off a couple of high-profile boxing managers. And by that time, I'd actually decided to go into stage hypnosis. And I remember my dad saying to me, don't go into stage hypnosis yet, finish your boxing career, because you're young. And I remember when you're young, you know everything. I said, no, honestly, I know what I'm going to do. Now I look back and I think, I wish I'd have just listened to him and finished my boxing, more so because I wonder where I could have gone with the power of the mind. And sometimes, this is something which is quite sort of profound. I remember, because, you may know yourself, and I have no doubt that you will, I can go into a sports club, and more so in a dressing room or on a cricket pitch or watching any youngsters getting ready, and I can already pick out the champions, by their mannerisms, by their eyes, by what they look like, by how they're handling that nervous energy.
Yes.
Right? Because some people are defeated before they get in there, and it's all about how they look and how they present themselves. Well, you can teach that in sport. You can actually, if you understand the power of the mindset, you can actually teach that to turn that on its head and turn that, if somebody suffers from that flight syndrome, you can actually teach them and turn it around to get them to use that fight. And, that's something.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Yeah. Because it resonates with you, doesn't it?
It really resonates. I mean, I've just made an audio for something called the pleasure pain principle. What are you motivated by most? And most of the time people want to go into the comfort zone and experience pleasure first.
Yes.
But actually it's the pain that initiates action, or the discomfort, or the nervous energy.
And growth.
Or the revenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it does, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a fantastic motivator if you're in control of it. I was watching a YouTube video with the footballer Roy Keane, who used to play for Manchester United. He's quite a feisty character, and he was saying about his time at Manchester United, how it was the kind of fear of failure that was driving him on. I've got to make this a success. And when he looks back now, he wishes he had the maturity to handle that fear in a different way. So obviously the nervous energy, not necessarily the fear, but the discomfort has driven you on somewhat. Yeah,
of course. And going to Roy Keane, because there's a lot of players out there who are just local players who are very, very, very nearly as good as Roy Keane was. But if you could take how Roy Keane prepared himself in the dressing room, right, and how he channeled that energy, because there's no doubt about it, Roy Keane would have got as nervous as any other player. Because when you're getting ready for competition, or whether it be fighting, whether it be football, whether it be cricket, any sport, within reason, when you're getting ready for combat, the adrenaline's the same, no matter what you're going in for.
Yeah.
And if you could take somebody like Roy Keane's mindset and sell that, it'd be worth millions, because you would then make millions of champions.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference between Roy Keane and the local painter and decorator who plays for his local team, who's got the same skills. It's the mindset. It's 100% mindset. There's no, I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
You can teach if you can not really teach somebody their mindset, if you can teach somebody the importance of understanding the preparation and understanding how to use that mindset, how to prepare for it, and how to use visualization, how to use self-hypnosis to create that mindset, and you're going to create a better fighter, or a better footballer, or better cricket, or better competitor.
And I see the same with business as well. People come to me and say, how do I make more money? How do I get more clients? How do I conquer Facebook ads and all those things at the front of the mind, when really the goal behind the goal is the need to sort the mindset out first, because they don't want to go through that kind of suffering or that learning curve, which could be quite long.
Yes.
So people often want a quick fix and the comfort.
Yeah, of course they do.
Without the actual journey. So if you're coaching a young person, just say you were coaching somebody down your local gym, what would you use in terms of an emotion or a state? Would you use that kind of nervous energy, that pain, or would you say, imagine there's a holiday at the end of this, or you're going to be the world's best fighter, or you're going to have £1 million if you win your next 5 fights?
First of all, I'd find out what motivates them and speak their language. I've got quite a basic set if I'm speaking to anybody about any sort of preparation, and that's about modelling. So what I would do is if I've gone into clubs before, boxing clubs, and I've done mindsets with the whole team. And how I use that mindset is that most people in sport of any sort have got somebody who they look up to, somebody who they admire. So I ask them to imagine that person, imagine their skills, imagine their mindset, and just imagine themselves just floating into that person and just absorbing what they've got, right, to add to what they already have. That's the important thing, not changing who they are, but to add to what they've already got. And then as they absorb it, and then they float themselves back out of it again, then they float back in, and they do this, and then I send them home with that same mindset to do it all the time, as much as they can. And just by something as simple as that, you can change how they approach the game, how they approach it. Because what they're going to do is then, if they're doing that enough, they're then going to, because they've got no idea how this superstar feels before competition, but how they perceive that person to feel will be how they will actually absorb that quality.
Yeah. So this is a bit like the deep trance identification method, isn't it? In a hypnosis where you go in and you assume the whole being of the other person and look through their eyes and feel all the feelings. That can be quite profound, can't it?
It can be so profound if you believe in it. That's the thing. If you believe it, and then it can be massive.
Awesome. What does the growth mindset mean to you?
Well, to me, it means pain. I'm drawn. I'm sort of like motivated by, trying to expand. I only expand when I'm uncomfortable. So if I'm sort of like spending a lot of time when I'm quite comfortable, then I know that I'm not actually doing anything to better myself. So I like to look for things which is going to make me feel uncomfortable. And if I can feel uncomfortable and challenge them things and get over them things, and then that's me expanding. However, there's lots, we could talk all day, couldn't we, about how you prepare for things. And yet, I'm motivated by a lot of things which, like for instance, a lot of trainers would say things like there's no sense of failure, only feedback. So if I try something and I don't succeed in it, I'll give you an example, shall I? I'm 50 years old. I'm 50 years old in 1 month, right?
Looking good for 50.
Thank you very much indeed. And I've decided now to hang up my gloves as a fighter.
Yeah.
And I've hung up my gloves as a fighter. However, up until about a month ago, I was still stepping into the ring with 20-year-olds, right? And what I do know is that the winning and the losing wasn't the important thing for me in that sense. It was actually just getting in there, because my winning and losing time as a competitor had been and gone. So it was actually just still getting that rush of adrenaline and knowing that I was actually going to get something from that. And what I was getting from that was just that sense of uncomfortableness, which was going to drive me, because when I got that uncomfortableness, I would then train harder. I would then focus harder on my business, because what it does is when you've got a challenge, you feel better about yourself and you've got more self-worth. So if I could say to anybody about growth, it's about finding something you love and trying your best to actually go that extra step.
Yes.
And making sure really that your business isn't suffering at the same time. Yeah. Incorporate it.
Yeah. Everybody knows about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
But few people are willing to be out of that comfort zone for a considerable amount of time to get that extra level of growth. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because there's so many sayings, isn't there, that we use, and then actually we realise that they're true.
Yeah.
That life begins outside your comfort zone. Who said? I can't remember his name, but I remember somebody saying once at a convention of some sort, to ask the audience, when was the last time they did something for the first time? Yes. And when you think about that, when was the last time that you did something for the first time? So probably the people who are going to be listening to this podcast, ask yourself that question. And if you can't remember, then it's time to do something for the first time. It's time to say, actually, I'm going to do something which is going to benefit me. Yeah. And also as well, hopefully benefit what I'm doing towards success.
Yeah. So
Canoeing, yes. I saw your canoe outside and I thought, hey, I've got to have some of that. Fantastic, yeah. Give me a shout anytime.
We'll do that together sometime.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any particular scenarios where you've overcome setbacks or failure?
Is there any scenarios where I've overcome setbacks and failure? Wow. I'm a, I'm going to throw this into the mix, whether it sort of like works or not. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I had everything at one point. I had a really, really wonderful life. I had a lovely home in Leeds. I had lots of contracts. And then I fell victim to drugs and alcohol. Yeah. And I ended up losing everything, ended up not having anywhere to live, not even a roof to lay my head. I experienced homelessness, in and out of hostels until 2007, when I decided to get well. A friend of mine who sent me and paid for me to go to a rehab for 3 months, and some aftercare as well, which I'm eternally thankful for. And now that's 11 and a half years now. So that was a massive setback. And I use that now, because every single day for me now is about living life. So if you stop for a minute and just write down a few things as to where you are, right, then you'll realise what is actually stopping you from growing. Because most people aren't where they really want to be. Yeah. So if you can work out what's stopping you, and I worked out what was stopping me, was I can't drink. I can't take any mind-altering substance at any level. So once I realised that, then I could do something about it.
Yeah. So how long has that been now? Since
11 and a half years.
Wow.
11 and a half. Absolutely. Yes. I've got 11 and a half years dry and clean. I've got a lovely wife called Natalie. I've got a lovely son called Mason. I've got a lovely home, which is beyond my wildest beliefs. All I've had to do was work out which was stopping me from achieving
what's
this.
Stopping you, yeah.
Absolutely. Now I've realised what's stopping me. I've realised, so what you could say to yourself is, what is my alcohol? What is
brilliant?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what is my alcohol? It might not be alcohol.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who've got wonderful lives and they have a glass of wine 3 or 4 in a weekend, but there might be something which is stopping you.
Yeah.
Work out what's stopping you, move that aside, and start to grow.
Awesome. That's really, really awesome. So, are you still a vegan?
I'm as vegan as I can be without being fanatical.
Yeah.
And what I mean is that if I'm somewhere and I'm a bit peckish and I start eating a muesli bar, and somebody says to me, "Oh, that's got milk powder in it," I'm not going to put the muesli bar down.
Yeah.
I would say I'm vegan curious. Yeah, I don't really eat dairy, and I don't eat meat.
Vegan curious.
That's what I said. Yeah, vegan curious. That was actually Russell Brand's. Yeah, vegan curious. I'm as vegan as I'd like to be without being sort of like right or left wing.
So what's the drive for the vegan? Is it a health thing or is it
purely what it is? It's a health thing.
Yeah.
When I've sort of like looked into the pros and cons, and I've realised that what we put into our bodies is so important. I've lost 3.5 stone because of what I eat and my lifestyle. When I went into rehab, I was only 7.5 stone because I was very unwell. When I come out of rehab, I was nearly 12 stone. Oh, sorry, nearly 11 stone. I put on nearly 3.5 stone in the space of sort of like 3 months and then another 6 months after that. And then I just started to get well and get healthy and get fit. And now I'm down to my natural weight, which is about 10 stone 5, something like that. So and that's purely because, and I don't get very unwell. I don't get colds. I don't get viruses. And I think it's down to what I'm eating.
So what is it you do in a nutshell to keep your mind set?
What do I do in a nutshell to keep my mind set? I do a sort of like, I don't do a daily inventory. I work at a 12-step program, which is something which is anybody who's in a fellowship of recovery of some sort will know what that is. Yeah. I keep fit. I run. I do yoga. I do a bit of weights as well. I still fight with. Funny enough, I've got a little friend of mine called Sam. He's only 17, by the way. And I'm due to have a little role with him at some point in the future. That's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's 17 years old, and he eats me for breakfast. He's going to be? I believe he'll be a world champion. Yeah. He's had 9 MMA fights. He's won 9. He's undefeated, and he's won every single one of them within the first 2 rounds by choking people in a cage way, and he's such a gentleman. So even though he's only 17, I'll even look at somebody like that for modelling certain parts of their behaviour.
Yes.
And what I would model from him is his mindset. He's at 17, he actually believes when he gets in that cage, he has no doubt he's going to win. And he looks like a little choir boy, by the way. Yeah. So I was sort of like, what I do to keep fit and healthy is as much as I can with my mind and my body, and I try and transfer that into my business.
Awesome.
And try and transfer that into my business by doing something every single day to better where I am.
I mean, it's really interesting. I've seen your stage shows. The last one was like last year or something. Right, yeah. I've been canoeing across the lake with another hypnotist.
Brilliant. She's a good hypnotist, by the way.
Yeah. On Lake Ullswater. That was fantastic. Then at the night time, we visited you.
That's right.
In that kind of camping area.
Yes, Parkford Country Club. Yeah,
Parkford Country Club. And it was really interesting because that was the first time I'd seen you live, and you're as good as any other stage hypnotist I've seen.
Thank you.
Probably one of the more modest ones that's under the radar. So perfect for this podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
And one of the things I loved about it was your negative hallucinations, where you're lifting the children across the room and they're invisible and stuff like that. So I found that really interesting, the negative hallucination aspect where you make things disappear.
Yes.
Is there any way that we could use negative hallucination in terms of our everyday life or our goals or, ambitions or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, in a stage sense, it's, they could see me, but their subconscious mind was accepting the fact that they can't see me. And so they act as if they can't. Then the fear factor would still be there. So I think it would be difficult to do that on a stage set and use that same suggestions with people. Yeah. But what you can do is that you can work out what's not working for you that day. You can do some relaxation. You can concentrate on what's not working for you, and you can just see yourself either moving away from that, making that disappear, making your mindset was connected to that disappear, and then see yourself moving towards a more positive outcome.
So something dissolving.
Absolutely, yes. Something dissolving or something just flashing away.
Yeah. So how do you think that works when people just can't see? I mean, is the subconscious suggestion, isn't it? Where you just can't see an object or you can't see a person.
Yeah. Well, what I say is when I'm doing a stage show, my language is very specific. It's language patterns. Yeah.
Yes.
So the language pattern that I use, which other hypnotists maybe don't use, because I've seen hypnotists try that negative suggestion and it hasn't worked. And I know it's because they've not used the right language. So what I would do is I would say, when you open your eyes, it will be as if you cannot see me. However, you can see anything I move around the floor in front of you. However, it will be as if. So their mind can perceive that in any way, you see. So, you know, they can perceive it as in, some people will genuinely not be able to see you.
Yeah.
Because that's how they perceive it. But some people may be able to see you, but it's as if they can't see you. So it's just a little specific language pattern that would be thrown in there. So you could use that same language pattern throughout the day. You could sit there and you could relax in the morning and say, today it's going to be as if the things that would be problematic for me or cause problems don't bother me anymore. Yeah. It's as if I'm just flowing through the day. It's as if everything I touch turns to gold. It's as if I feel amazing. And you're using that same as if to better your day. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but the important thing is it's about persistence. It's about not just doing it once and saying, oh, you know, because what tends to happen is that I'll say to people, you know, I'll give them some sessions about bettering themselves, and they'll use it and they'll say, it felt so good, I really used that, and they'll stop using it. Persistence. It's about being persistent. You know, when you're a child, you get up, you fall down, you get up, you fall down. You don't just decide not to get up again. Yeah. And that's natural persistence. Take that same persistence. And now people seem to want quick fixes and everything, you know. Absolutely. I don't want the journey. Just give me the solution to the problem quick. And you can sell something to them where you say, yeah, I'll give you that quick fix. But really, there's always a level of persistence needed, or patience or endurance. Of course. Have I mentioned a specific speaker on here? Professional. Go for it. Yeah. There's a motivational speaker called Les Brown. And he's an amazing speaker, by the way, and he uses something which really, really resonated with me about persistence. He said that a bamboo plant, a bamboo seed, right, takes 5 years to sprout. 5 years, right? Yeah. Now, when it sprouts through the ground, it grows 9 meters in 9 weeks. Has it grown 9 meters in 9 weeks, or has it grown 9 meters in 5 years and 9 weeks? You see, so it's about persistence. It's kind of the 80-20 rule, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 80% initial effort or 20%. We're pretty much coming to the end of it, but it's been a real joy having you here. Thank you. I would like to ask you, you know, if there's any particular legacy. Sometimes I say to people, you know, what's the one change that you want to make in the world? You know, the Gandhi quote, be the change that you see in the world. But for you, what's the legacy that you'd like to leave behind as Barry Trainor, Ricky Moore, the stage hypnotist? Yeah, well, my legacy isn't actually in stage hypnosis, because that's my love. Yeah. And I've got a few loves, which is quite, you know, find a job you love and you'll never work another day. You know, I haven't worked for a long time, and nor have you, because you love your job. However, my legacy, I want to be able to teach young people how to harness their nervous energy and channel it into positivity and power, rather than draining. So when I can teach somebody to respond to negative energy with that bounce, rather than wanting to lay down and go to sleep, that's when I'll, you know, if I can teach that, if I can get that into most sports places, the power of it, you know, the importance of mindset, and then that would be something which I'm working on at the moment, and hopefully that will get there. You know, I'm in the middle of creating a program which has been a long time coming, and I'm still working on it, perfecting it. It's called Unblock Your Champion Within. So look out for that. Yeah, awesome. So it's been great having you here, Barry, Ricky Moore. Thank you. And thanks very much for attending this podcast. Can I just say hello to my son, Mason? Hello, Mason. Love you. And my wife, Natalie. Love you too. That's all from me, Gianna, and I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers. Goodbye.